maintain their concentration.
Top lap, and he will join the back of the grid. Good news for him that it at least gets a chance to leader. Just under 20,000 fans then are here today in attendance for motorgp. 5 consecutive poles for the first time since 2014. The first Frenchman to have 5 would be some story, wouldn't it, if somehow he managed to get Rossi after all. Quartararo then with a 24-point lead. You could argue that's comfortable already. He's had at least one rider on the podium here in Barcelona every year since 2007. Catching from around the world, and just under 20,000 fans here in the grandstands as well. Can anyone stop?
The Grand Prix will start in just a few moments. Fabio Quartararo is the big favourite, starting from top spot on the grid.
The MotoGP beasts are ready. And away we go in MotoGP. Not a brilliant start from Jack Miller initially as the lights went out, and Quartararo has bolted down to lead. How vital could that be? Jack Miller exactly where he wanted to be. It looks like Miguel Oliveira got away exceptionally to third. That was a great move from Oliveira, very brave indeed to go up into second place. Paul Espargaro's taking an interesting inside look. Losing places already. Zarco was in white. He's charging through the pack. He's up into 4th spot. That's excellent from the 9th he started. He's 13th through sector 2 on lap 1. Martino leads. Bagnaia got a terrible start. He's down to 10 in 6th. Well, at least we know tonight he engaged the launch control on that factory GSX-RR. Yeah, the Suzuki. Miller and Pecco Bagnaia. Miller 7th, Bagnaia 10th through the first sector. They completely missed the start ahead of Jack Miller, but it is Jorge Martin that leads. It's a Pramac Ducati 1-2. Well, briefly to third on the run down the first corner, but he's already struggling to run the pace at the front. He's been picked off by a to the start, finish straight then to complete the first lap.
Quartararo, as you say, Matt, did get a very good start. He's got himself ahead of Bagnaia. He's got himself ahead. They're battling away for 4th position at the moment.
Yeah, the latest Espargaro said if there's one man who's really, really good on a fix him up going through Casanova and Savelli, this is exactly what he's going to do. Yesterday, last night when the media spoke to him, had to be aggressive at the start of this Grand Prix. That's exactly what he's doing. Bagnaia through. Bagnaia through, sorry Lewis, he got a real good fight this. Ferocious stuff between Fabio and Fabio. Quick check on Valentin in your ears right now. He's 21st on the grid, 21st over the line at the end of the first lap. No progress made by the doctor. And the 2 Ducati sweep on through. Oh, Mia properly mugged off Quartararo there. Ran the Frenchman well wide. Absolutely got it nailed on the money. I just thought he might have been moving, but absolutely perfect start from the German. All this race, it's been picture perfect so far. They're riding roughshod for each other at the moment, aren't they? Perfect wingmen together. Quartararo on the last lap was the quickest mile on circuit with a 1:47.266.
Steady progress for the 2 Suzukis who started way out of position out at the back of the field. Alex Rins has actually made good progress. He's up 7 spots now into 14th, but Joan Mir, who started in 17th, he's gone back a spot on the first lap.
Yeah, real poor weekend for Joan Mir. He said it's been a nightmare, a weekend to forget. He was hoping to maybe save something on a Sunday. It's not happening.
Proves to be immediately wrong by going back past Bagnaia on the brakes. Can he make it to the apex? Yes, he does. But of course, Bagnaia is in many ways, lead challenger for the factory Ducati team, certainly in the World Championship. So you wouldn't expect that the junior independent riders will be making life too difficult for him. Quartararo is still swarming all over the back. Quartararo at the moment looking pretty racy behind them. You'll certainly want to make that move quickly with the likes of Bagnaia and Aleix still marooned further back.
Bagnaia's got his head down here, just at the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, 1:46.940. The only man currently circulating this 5.2 km circuit in the 1:46s. And Marquez was just in that little bit hot. He went a little bit, take the lead back. Excellent first lap, excellent start. We've always said he's a Sunday man, but it's better so far. The KTM man up inside that top 3. What a first lap was what it was to Joan.
Tour starts back
down through Casanova and Savelli. It's Fabio Quartararo versus Ducati right now at the front of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, he's got two bikes now between himself and Bagnaia. This will be the strategy that Yamaha will have no doubt tried to tell him to adopt if he can get himself in this position.
Using all the power of that GP22 to get up the inside of Fabio Quartararo on the brakes to San Donato, but Quartararo stands firm, giving the young Italian at the front of this Grand Prix, who hasn't put a foot wrong so far on the 72 bike, the chance to eke out a lead that's nearly 3/4 of a second halfway around this lap 5.
Talk about swimming against the tide. In 6th, so the Aprilia rider isn't making quite as rapid progress. Further back we've got Zarco in 7th, Brad Binder still holds on to 8th, and Enea Bastianini still not able to make the progress we expected, back in 9th at the moment.
Just adding to more misery for Repsol Honda. Their dreadful season goes on. That's a big one. That's through Arrabbiata too. Now then, they've already got Marc Marquez. Can it get any worse right now for HRC as Pecco Bagnaia really starts to hone in? Look at this, Fabio Quartararo is going to get absolutely swamped. He's getting mullered here in terms of top speed. Bagnaia comes through on Marini and Quartararo in quick succession. Can him really hot. That is just a line desperately one to get on par. Already too little too late here for Enea Bastianini. He is the master though on worn tyres, isn't he, in MotoGP, so we won't discount him just yet. Jorge Martin, there are your top speeds. 226, that's a new top speed record in MotoGP, ladies and gentlemen. A bit further down the field, Jorge Martin in 15th place right now has just set a new top speed record in the MotoGP World Championship. He's on the 89 bike, nothing wrong with his speed, but at the moment fighting for a solitary point further down the field.
So just caught a glimpse of Enea Bastianini there. He's now up behind, up into 10th, but Miguel Oliveira is also just behind. So the KTMs are starting to come into play here on the Sunday. The Suzuki's less so. Rins is still in 13th. Joan Mir still outside the points.
Poor old Pol Espargaro, the third-year Spaniard, that now extends his record to just 24 points in the last 7 races since that outstanding start to the season with the Qatar podium. Was there into that first chicane, but coming through was the Aprilia man then. Now he's back up into 4th place with Pecco Bagnaia. Said pre-race yesterday that was one of his big fears. He felt like if he was fighting with the Ducatis at the front, like the likes of me, they would think nothing of lunging up his inside, having already made an overtake. They don't think, or he didn't think that they perhaps resist so much and be as aggressive against Pecco Bagnaia, with him having such high hopes of winning Ducati's home Grand Prix here for the Bologna factory. Of course, their Borgo Panigale base just about an hour's drive away from here, and so far so good for Ducati.
Quartararo clear of that. He leads them from Aleix Espargaro. Jorge Martin is up into 3rd position. Aleix Espargaro in 2nd place. His brother Paul also up into 4th position.
Pretty slow to get to his feet there. We'll get a replay and find out exactly what's happened. Early drama here then, affecting one of the main protagonists in this race. Got a great launch off the line. He'd just been passed for second by Fabio Quartararo, and then he got clattered from behind. Nakagami and Rins also going down. Let's hope Alex Rins is okay, because that's another DNF for Rins. His wretched run goes on. That's going to be no points now in 4 consecutive races for Alex Rins, but what a blow for the World Championship. He crashed out when fighting for the podium, didn't he, in Le Mans a couple of races ago. Rebounded brilliantly with a stunning success in Mugello last weekend.
This is the battle for 2nd place between Martin and Aleix Espargaro. They have closed in ever so slightly on the pace of Quartararo, but they are still lapping slower than him, 1.8 seconds behind him. This is the battle involving Tickwood's look. He's now being eased aside. Looks like he's lining up to make a move.
He's always struggled in baking hot conditions. That's the case again at the moment on that Repsol Honda RC213V, as Fabio Quartararo just continues to streak away at the front. No further action then taken involving the incident involving Nakagami, Bagnaia and Rins.
Well, all three of them out of the Grand Prix, so any punishment they could hand out would be a punishment that would carry over into the next Grand Prix in the Sachsenring. They've opted not to do that. Here is the race leader then. On this lap, the lead is holding steady at around 1.8 to 1.9 seconds. This is just, as I say, what Fabio Quartararo needed, and I guess maybe he's thinking I can make hay while the sun shines. I think they're all expecting some sort of tyre drop towards the end of this Grand Prix. How severe it is the big question, but Quartararo, I suppose, if he can get as far up the road as possible, any tyre drop is likely to come into play. He's going to have a bit of time in hand to try and manage that lead in the closing stages. We're completing lap 6 then of 20 final sector. He pulls 0.3 of a second now on Jorge Martin and Aleix Spargaro behind him. The lead now for the first time is over 2 seconds.
Yeah, and these guys now need something pretty dramatic to happen to Fabio Quartararo in the latter stage of this Grand Prix, because they can't just get on par with his pace again. Quartararo 4/10 quicker than Martin, half a second quicker than Aleix Spargaro. Just on lap number 7, Quartararo in a complete class of his own at the moment. He's still 2.2 seconds clear. He's gained another 10th on Martin in sector 2.
It's been a poor day already for the factory Ducati team, of course, with Pecco Bagnaia out of this Grand Prix. Well, their sole remaining contender, Jack Miller, is not having a good afternoon. He's down in 16th position at the moment, so something clearly happened to him on the first lap as well. Of course, he saw in Mugello 1 week ago. He was down towards the back of the field and just could not go anywhere. Miller at the moment having a very familiar experience.
That's going to be a tough prospect for Maverick Vinales. He can't find a way through as yet on an airbag Genie. You just wonder, having had to work so hard to get onto the rear tyre of the Italian, how much of that soft rear tyre will Vinales start using up here to keep himself in this top 10 battle. It's been an excellent ride this by Joan Mir. Yes, he's been a little bit fortunate not to have to worry about getting to on the likes of Alex Rins, his teammate Taka Nakagami and Pecco Bagnaia, of course. So he's got to pick his moment. He's got to be super precise here. At the moment, Jorge Martin is just running the perfect race. He's not giving Aleix Spargaro any chance to show him his front wheel.
And they've got Johan Zarco just behind him as well. He's the second half behind, running a solid race at the moment in 4th position.
Aleix Spargaro has got a real big conundrum here, because he just cannot find a way through, can he, on Jorge Martin. The Ducati's horsepower advantage down the main straight, and then of course you can't just get close enough, because Aleix Spargaro knows if he gets too close, that front tyre temperature, that front tyre pressure will just go through the roof. It was a problem he's encountered in a couple of races around Le Mans recently. Fabio Quartararo now with a golden chance to put clear daylight between himself. Again blows it here.
He won't believe his luck when he sees what's going on behind him. That 4th sector is where Fabio Quartararo is absolutely untouchable, using the corner speed of that Yamaha through those long right-handers. It was also dropping down the screen. I think we've lost both. We have both Gresini Ducatis down on the same lap.
Can this day get any more dismal for Ducati? Pecco Bagnaia said yesterday this was going to be all about surviving, and we're starting to see riders fall by the wayside. Marco Bezzecchi, he's come back into the pits. He did rejoin briefly, but he's in the pits on that Mooney VR46 Ducati. There's no way that the Gian Antonio and Bastianini are getting back into this race. So it's been a bit of a disaster here. Aleix Spargaro then does finally make his move. Is it too little too late to win his home Grand Prix here? What we saw from Aleix Spargaro when he was racing Jack Miller and Marc Marquez in Jerez a few weeks ago, once he got through, he had by far the superior pace. He was able to blitz away from the Australian and the Spaniard. So can Aleix Spargaro quickly dispense of Jorge Martin? Looks like he can. Straight away, he's put daylight between himself and his fellow Spaniard. But 3.2 seconds up the road is Fabio Quartararo. 3.3 seconds now in sector 1, and Quartararo again on that previous lap of 1:46.03. That was 0.6 quicker than Martin in second place. He's just been operating on a different level so far today, Fabio Quartararo. It's all about now his time management.
That would be extended as it stands to 17 if Aleix Espargaro finishes in third position. And we saw in Argentina in a Grand Prix that Aleix Espargaro ultimately won. He had to really work hard, didn't he, despite his dominant pace on that day, to get past Jorge Martin, who is such a difficult rider to overtake now in the 141s, which was why Aleix Espargaro was climbing all over the back of him and had to make that move, because Johann Zarco was closing in on them. Zarco is still in the 140s. There's only a few riders out there, a handful of them, lapping in the 140s. Quartararo, Zarco, Joan Mir and Luca Marini, who set his personal best lap last time around. Marini really, along with Zarco and Martin, the only really Ducati runners left in any kind of competitive position in this Grand Prix.
Taken to the medical centre for a precautionary check-up, but no great surprise after that horrible incident at turn 1, which he did instigate. And as Lewis spotted his head hitting hard on the rear of Pecco Bagnaia's factory Ducati, so let's hope that attacking that Nagano is going to be okay. So at the moment, teammates probably not for much longer. As we get into 2023 at Viola, they look completely baffled. Bastianini's kind of suggesting there with his body language, well, I don't think I did anything wrong. Don't really think I was pushing any harder in that turn 5 than any other lap. But he is down and out, and it's another big blow for his world title hopes. No points in Mugello, no points in Barcelona. A tough 7 days for Enea Bastianini.
Martin's already really suffering in this Grand Prix. We're only on lap 11 of 24. We're coming up towards half distance, but for the second consecutive lap, Martin was way down in the 141s. At 141.367, his teammate Johann Zarco is flying though. He's 7/10 a lap faster. It's really coming up troubles for Fabio Quartararo, isn't it, as we ride on board with his closest World Championship contender. And it looks like he's going to be the only close contender at the moment to Fabio Quartararo in the World Championship chase as it stands at the moment. And these are crucial points that are the fastest rider on track last time around. We saw it last.
You just wonder at the moment whether Jorge Martin just struggling both with tyres and a little bit of physicality as well. He has had problems with that numbness in his right hand and his right arm with the nerve problem, a legacy of the FP3 coat. He was on the podium here last year. He's got that hard rear tyre on, so that should play into his hands in the latter stage of this Grand Prix. Still lapping in the 140s in these excessive hot conditions with the grip levels as low as what they are. Quite horrible collision there involving him, in particular Alex Rins, and face planting the back of Pecco Bagnaia's Ducati as well. It was not a crash you want to see too often. It was a pretty horrible way, awful way to kick off this Barcelona Grand Prix.
For the first time in this Grand Prix then, the chasing group battling for second, third and fourth were ever so slightly faster.
Ferrari again 6/10 faster. Can Jorge Martin? He's got alongside Aleix Espargaro in the braking zone. We're on board. Perfect timing. Has Jorge Martin made it stick? He certainly has. They flick it left and through turn 3. Now hard right through this tyre punishing long sweeping right-hander, turn number 3. And in terms of the championship, this is a crucial few points that Aleix Espargaro surrendering. He has a good long look over his left shoulder there, and he'll get a face full of number 5. He's stuck in a prima promo Ducati sandwich right now, isn't he, Aleix Espargaro? It's not been the victory challenge many of us expected. That's all gone the way of Fabio Quartararo, but it's imperative now for his title hopes that Aleix Espargaro minimum hangs on to a podium finish here.
Anything, the gap's pulling out, isn't it, already on this lap? And Jorge Martin's pulled out 0.3 of a second. This was the move then on the brakes. Of course, the power of that Ducati down the start-finish straight, enabling Jorge Martin to pull alongside Aleix Espargaro. Ran ever so slightly wide into turn 1, but Aleix Espargaro enough.
He was sticking his right leg out there as an air brake, wasn't he, Martin? You could see that Pramac Ducati was snaking sideways left and right. That's how hard he had to push to make that move safe on the inside of Aleix Espargaro. Great job then by Jorge Martin. let's hope that this operation he has in Barcelona tomorrow rids him of this kind of niggling.
Quartararo for the first time in the 41s, 41.007. Aleix Spargo did a 141 dead, as you can now see on your screens. But the two Pramac Ducatis, Martin clearly regrouping a little bit. He's back into the 140s last time around. Johan Zarco also setting pretty good pace further back. But further back, there's some other riders who are really struggling. Pol Espargaro has lost another couple of places. He's now down to 15th position. Both Jack Miller, Remy Gardner and Franco Morbidelli are all past him. If it carries on for much longer, Pol Espargaro is going to be out of the points altogether.
Yeah, everybody out there at the moment is feeling the pace, they're feeling the heat, as you would expect. Fabio Quartararo's best lap of the Grand Prix was a 140.186 on lap number 3. On that last lap, he was nearly a second slower. So Quartararo, as Jorge Martin comes back into this contest, Sachsenring circuit, as the runaway race leader picks off lap number 16, and he's comfortably clear now. His advantage 5.1 seconds over Jorge Martin in second place. This has been a demolition job so far by the reigning world champ.
Yeah, I'm not sure he came to when Friday panned out the way he did, expecting to win this Grand Prix. He spoke on Friday saying that if the Grand Prix had taken place then, in the conditions and the situation.
Yeah, we're coming to the point of the race now, 8 laps to go, where you really are going to find out who's kept the best life in those tyres. Anxious faces, as you'd expect, down the factory Aprilia team. They would have seen that excessive wear on Aleix Espargaro's medium front tyre. Johan Zarco, having got close to this battle for second place, has not really been able to sort of force the issue, has he, and get close to his teammate Martin or Aleix Espargaro ahead of him to try and find a way through into second place. You just wonder whether he's having to just sit off that battle, but just try and keep the front tyre temperature and pressure down, because that's a problem which we've heard repeatedly from so many riders. Just his second victory of the season to really find more momentum into an already very positive defence of his MotoGP World Crown. He was slightly slow on that previous lap than this quartet directly behind him, but as we said, it's all immaterial, because he's got to this phase of the Grand Prix now, Quartararo, where he can just stage manage it, he can ease off, he can just nurse those tyres.
He's in real trouble further back. Andrea Dovizioso has just pulled into the pits. He was running in 18th position, so Dovizioso looks like he's out of this Grand Prix. Pol Espargaro is now second last of the riders who are out there. He's lapping in the mid 143s, would you believe? Pol Espargaro, he's only got Michele Pirro behind him. The beneficiary of that is Raul Fernandez, who's just gone past him. As it stands, Raul Fernandez could finally be on for his first World Championship point. Aleix Espargaro out wide there by the looks of it into turn 10. He's coming under increasing pressure from the Pramac Ducatis. The one ahead that's pulling away, and the one behind that is looking an increasing threat.
Is Aleix Espargaro just having big troubles with that front tyre? Just was wide again, wasn't he, in the braking zone for turn 10, or was it just the fact that he got a bit of slipstream out of turn 9 and got sucked in by the slipstream effect from Jorge Martin's Ducati Vital extra 4 points? He's going to maybe move out the slipstream here on Jorge Martin. He's not been close enough though to get through on his fellow Spaniard. Here comes Aleix Espargaro. Now he's just trying to do the block pass, isn't he, here? The block pass on the inside. Now then, he's got it done this time around. He tried on lap 18, not a successful mission. He tried on lap 20, didn't work. Lap 21 though, he has finally got into the front. Romano Albiciano, he's enjoying it. I'm sure he's super nervous down that Aprilia garage. Now then, can Aleix Espargaro make the key break here?
Off as Aleix Espargaro now pulls out of the slipstream. He is on the inside this time. Can he get that Aprilia stopped into turn 1? He can. He makes the apex comfortably, so the home crowd and the Aprilia team will like that as their man moves back up into second.
Great move and great for his World Championship as well, because he's just rescued another 4 points there. So trying to limit the damage here after Fabio Quartararo's brilliance. It will be advantage Quartararo going to round 10 in Germany. in a couple of weeks' time, 13 clear of Aleix Espargaro, then a big gap sent back to Enea Bastianini in third. 53 points for the Catiman, who crashed out at turn 5 early on in the race. We can't even see Pecco Bagnaia on that graphic because, of course, his involvement in that nasty incident at the first corner means Bagnaia is going to lose one place if Johann Zarco stays upright and stays on board that Pramac Ducati. But this could be a big day. This could be a decisive day when we look back maybe at the final reckoning in Valencia in early November with Bagnaia out of contention. This could be, and Bastianini out of course as well, retain that world championship. You may well look back on this basking. Yeah, that was one of the key moments of the season.
If it stays like this, Pecco Bagnaia will go to the Saxon ring 66 points behind Fabio Quartararo, which even with so many races to go, 11 races still to go in this World Championship, that is an awful lot of points. Pecco Bagnaia ran out of races last year to close the gap on Fabio Quartararo. 66 points after 9 Grand Prix is a big bridge to try and overcome.
The problem is Fabio Quartararo is able to marry fantastic speed with great consistency. He's able to push that Yamaha to its absolute limit without stepping over it and falling off. He's had one DNF in the last 26 races coming into this, maybe just not at full focus. Some of the celebrations from Mazzano maybe are still hanging over, but this man, he just does not make mistakes on Sundays, does he? He's always there or thereabouts. When he hasn't had the speed in Texas, where they were really tough Grand Prix, but he didn't let his head drop. He kept his motivation, kept his focus. And it's no wonder that man there we just saw on your screens, Lynn Jarvis, was so desperate and anxious to get this man signed on a new 2-year contract. Whatever they paid Fabio Quartararo to sign that deal here this weekend, to stay on an M1 for 2023 and 2024, well, it was worth every single penny.
It was almost missed in the chaos of the first corner, the instant. And what wasn't it? The move up the inside, he outbraked Aleix Espargaro into turn 1, swooped up the inside of him, he left his braking solo. We got the perfect view of it on that replay from the shoulder cam of Pecco Bagnaia as Fabio Quartararo stormed past the pole man. From that point of view, Quartararo hasn't been headed. It wasn't as if Aleix Espargaro was stuck in traffic early on. He ran in second in the very early stages of this Grand Prix. He just didn't have an answer for the incredible pace. Another mid-141 for him. If there is any kind of tyre drop for Fabio Quartararo, he's doing a good job of masking it at the moment, isn't he? 5.7 seconds up the road. Aleix Espargaro might well have just enough in hand now to see off Jorge Martin. 7/10 of a second of an advantage, and there is no obvious benefit of that harder rear tyre for Johann Zarco. He slipped nearly a second behind his teammate in 4th. Of course, there are only 2 Hondas left in this Grand Prix, but he's quite comfortably ahead of Paul Espargaro, who's way down in 16th position at the moment. That'll be a fine result for Alex Marquez. He's ahead of the likes of Jack Miller, who's still struggling down in 11th position. He's got a couple of rookies right on his tail. Darren Binder and Remy Gardner are closing in on Miller, and Franco Morbidelli is also involved in that battle. They're battling for 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th.
Talk about a race full of grit and determination. On course and cruising towards an 11th career victory, a 10th in the MotoGP World Championship, and he'll take complete control of this year's title chase. It will be his 29th career podium as well, and there's few have been better than this previously, because this has been pure exhibition stuff from the Frenchman. There's been a lot of French fans here in the crowd who crossed the border. They didn't see him take the victory in front of his home crowd in Le Mans, but the French fans who have come to watch Fabio Quartararo here this weekend, they're going to be absolutely ecstatic, because this has been one of his most dominant performances of his Grand Prix career. Nearly 6 seconds clear he is now.
This will be a confidence boosting result for Joan Mir, currently in 5th position. You can see how much movement there was from that Suzuki. He will be scrambling for grip, as they all will be now in this final lap and a half. Mir's actually faster than Joe and Zarkov ahead of him, but 3.5 seconds of empty tarmac between them. Mir will have to settle for 5th position. He's seen off the challenge of Luca Marini. Marini's also in a very safe 6th position. That will be back-to-back top 6 finishes for the Mundi VR46 man. Another good result for him, but we're about to start the fight, whose race pace just isn't dropping off at all. He continues to hammer away in the mid-41s. Time is over 2 seconds.
Yeah, and these guys now need something pretty dramatic to happen to Fabio Quattro in the latter stage of this Grand Prix, because they can't just get on par with his pace again. 4/10 quicker than Martin, half a second quicker than Aleix Espargaro. Get onto the rear tyre of the Italian. How much of that soft rear tyre will Vinales start using up here to keep himself in this top 10 battle? It's been an excellent ride this by Joan Mir. Yes, he's been a little bit fortunate not to have to worry about getting to other likes of Alex Rins, his teammate. Aleix Espargaro has got a real big conundrum here, because he just cannot find a way through, can he? On Jorge Martin and Ducati's horsepower advantage down the main straight, and then of course you can't just get close enough, because Aleix Espargaro knows if he gets too close, that front tyre temperature, that front tyre pressure will just go through the roof. It was a problem he's encountered in a couple of races, Jerez and Le Mans recently. So he's got to pick his moment. He's got to be super precise here. And at the moment, Jorge Martin is just running the perfect race. He's not giving Aleix Espargaro any chance to show him his front wheel.
Just behind him as well. He's a second and a half behind, running a solid race at the moment in 4th position, pulling clear of that group further back. So at the moment, Zarco in a rather low.
And the tyre life and the strain on your body. This is probably the toughest race of the season we've had so far, and we're starting to see riders fall by the wayside. To come back into the pits, he did rejoin briefly, but he's in the pits on that Muni VR46 Ducati. There's no way that Gian Antonio and Bastianini are getting back into this race, so it's been a bit of a disaster here before Ducati.
It's really coming up troubles for Fabio Quartararo, isn't it, as we ride on board with his closest World Championship contender. And it looks like he's going to be the only close contender at the moment to Fabio Quartararo in the World Championship chase as it stands at the moment. Starts this race 8 points behind. That would be extended as it stands to 17 if Aleix Espargaro finishes in 3rd position. And we saw in Argentina in a Grand Prix that Aleix Espargaro ultimately won.
Now, I don't think he'll need any dashboard messages. He'll be able to hear that Repsol Honda Marc Marquez all over his rear tyre. Quartararo has moved up to 9th though, because he's 6/10 behind Rins, who is fallen 1.5 seconds behind the impressive Luca Marini, who's here 5 years, 5 weeks later. Bullish, of course, and buoyant after his brilliance in Austin, but now he's seriously going to line up a move into turn 2. No, he's not close enough. It's been a dismal day for LCR Honda. Alex Marquez has stopped. He's in 7th at the moment, just behind Aleix Espargaro, 1 place ahead of Rins. That squeezes that top 3 together even more. You just know though that exercise caution and common sense in this position. He will not fire it up the inside of Pecco Bagnaia for a big result. The championship not been at stake. It's not just the individual glory that's up for grabs here. Of course, Ducati right in contention potentially for a triple crown. It looked like at turn number 8 he could have eased through on Pecco there. Yeah, he's acting as the perfect wingman at the moment, isn't he, Jack Miller? Could be a few. Yeah, he's about using that little bit of extra acceleration for the Ducati. He'll just be able to pull 2 or 3 bike lengths on the gas on Alex Rins. That's Raro.
20 points he would take to Pecco Bagnaia's 11. That would increase his advantage to 50.
Have been here before, of course. Marc Marquez was running away with the race in 2019. 3.6 seconds clear he was for the 8 times world champion. He's 2.8 seconds clear than of Fabio Quartararo now.
No, you have to hand it to Fabio Quartararo, don't you? Bagnaia here is closing now on Jack Miller. May have that hard rear tyre, but he is just struggling at this particular stage of the race.
absolutely right, Steve. Miller just not looking comfortable at the moment on that factory Ducati. He's got his hands full here. Kilo, the lesser chance he has of then trying to reel back in Jorge Martin, who's now 1.3 seconds.
Bagnaia was half a second quicker than Miller on that last lap.
Credit to Martin, I mean, on that last lap, he was only 3/10. He did not expect this from Jorge Martin. He didn't expect it from himself after he listened to his comments.
There you go. Jack Miller, clearly that we've seen anything like that so far in 2021. I wonder if Miller just knows he's struggling a bit and he knows exactly what Bagnaia needs. Didn't he, a couple of rounds ago, that if he can help Pecco Bagnaia, then he will. And he's not exactly in a race-winning position at the moment, Jack.
Top 2 in all 4 practice sessions going into qualifying yesterday. His weekend has kind of unravelled in that 15-minute Q2 set,
allowing Pecco Bagnaia through and succeed.
Yeah, well, Pecco Bagnaia's got his hands full to cut that gap. I mean, he's got to find 2 seconds, cool-wise, to bring Bagnaia back into contention for the podium.
Yeah, and on that lap, they're in complete control, 3.6 seconds up the road.
Well, in the past, far more mature, he was wise. He took what he got. So you'd think that after the start that Miller's so, everybody else was low to mid 138s. Quartararo, it's another pressure that he's under. He said he's in the trenches. Well, he's digging himself out of it big time right now. He's responded with a third chases the top 10, just a couple of places behind these guys. Miller's not got a huge issue through his first 3 sectors. It is definitely the last sector where the claw's stuck into Quartararo. He's not letting him quite out of his sight here. He's really pushing that front end. Is about to start attacking Malta, Pecco Bagnaia, just behind these guys, to play through races, started to come into his own, so he might well feature in the latter stages of this one as well. Yeah, and he's the lead, breaking into turn 6, going into turn 6 with Lipper. Well, the gap between Quartararo and Miller at the front is still 7/10, but not what we expected to see from Marquez. 9 months out of the saddle for him, just working his way back up to confidence, and 7-7-7-0, and the lead is over a second now as they head into turn 1, or just under a second, to Fabio Quartararo and run his own race.
With that Pramac Ducati, he's able to brake as late as he needs. He's going to need to brake late here, look, so Aleix Espargaro's up the inside of him.
Aleix Espargaro then does finally make his move. Is it too little too late to win his home Grand Prix here?
Would have been a damage limitation job. Look at that front tyre already for Aleix Espargaro. That medium front tyre already starting to cry it off. Aleix Espargaro, understandably, a bit of strife with that situation on that Michelin front tyre.
What we saw from Aleix Espargaro when he was racing Jack Miller and Marc Marquez in Jerez a few weeks ago, once he got through, he had by far the superior pace. He was able to blitz away from the Australian and the Spaniard. So can Aleix Espargaro quickly dispense of Jorge Martin? Looks like he can. Straight away, he's put daylight between himself and his fellow Spaniard. But 3.2 seconds up the road is Fabio Quartararo, 3.3 seconds now in Sector 1, and Quartararo again on that previous lap of 1:46.03. That was 6/10 quicker than Martin in second place. He's just been operating on a different level. Has he gone pushing too hard too soon, or was he thinking, well, okay, I'm going to try and break away, open the gap, and then just manage the tyres towards the back end of the race, just like he did.
For the first time in the Grand Prix last time around, Jorge Martin was down in the 141s, which is why Aleix Espargaro was climbing all over the back of him and had to make that move, because Johann Zarco was closing in on them. Zarco is still in the 140s. There's only a few riders out there, a handful of them, lapping in the 140s. Quartararo, Zarco, Joan Mir and Luca Marini, who set his personal best lap last time around. Marini really, along with Zarco and Martin, the only really Ducati runners left in any kind of competitive position in this Grand Prix.
Went to the phase of the race, the sort of final third, where he's normally exceptionally strong, but has he given himself too much to do to get himself back in podium contention. He flies out to the States on Tuesday for further consultations with some world-renowned specialist in humerus bone injuries. I did fear he was struggling to run the pace at the front of this Grand Prix. There's a further confirmation then, Marc Marquez's tweet yesterday, to take an enforced injury layoff. He's going to have, well, he'll be back under the surgeon's knife in Minnesota in America sometime next week. He flies out to the States on Tuesday for further consultations with some world-renowned specialist. As we mentioned, we wish him well in what looks like it's going to be another long and arduous and painful rehabilitation. Back at the front end of this Grand Prix in humerus bone injuries. As we mentioned, we wish him well in what looks like it's going to be another long and arduous and painful rehabilitation.
Balance of physicality and grit. Alex Marquez could find himself struggling in the closing stages of this Grand Prix, but it's Aleix Espargaro who's now coming under threat. He's got the power of the Ducati all over the back of him. Jorge Martin looking to try and pull out from behind that Aprilia, but unable to get close enough on the brakes to make a move on Aleix Espargaro. 141.3 last time round for Aleix Espargaro. He lost a quarter of a second.
He's getting mullered here in terms of top speed. Bagnaia comes short in quick succession. Can he stop that factory Ducati? Really, really hot. Trying desperately, to get on par. Bagnaia ahead of him on the fast Ducatis to contend with. He's getting absolutely destroyed here right now by fractured Ducatis. What can he do?
We now have 5 Ducatis in the top 6. It's come from a long way back. He is now just behind Zarco in 8th.
Might be already too little too late here for us. The master though on worn tyres, isn't he, in MotoGP, so we won't discount him just yet. Jorge Martin, there are your top speeds. 226, that's a new top speed record in MotoGP, ladies and gentlemen. A bit further down the field, Jorge Martin in 15th place right now has just set a new top speed record in the MotoGP World Championship. He's on the 89 bike, nothing wrong with his speed, but at the moment fighting for a solitary point further down the field.
So just caught a glimpse of an airbag.
Sure, Spaniard, that now extends his record to just 24 points in the last 7 races since that outstanding start to the season with the Qatar podium. Teki still leads them here in his home Grand Prix. He just had another lap in the 140s. Nobody can get anywhere near the pace of Quartararo. He doesn't really need to be pushing this hard at this stage of the Grand Prix, but he's still finding high 140s. 4.4 seconds he is now through sector 2 on this lap number 16. Jorge Martin, when will he pick his moment to try and take away some crucial World Championship points on Aleix Espargaro? It's one thing to get next to a rider in MotoGP these days, it's another thing to pass him. Not just with the fact that you've got front tyre pressure and temperature to contend with, but everybody's so good now on the brakes with the aero packages, with the downforce it creates. Although Aleix Espargaro is in a little bit hot, a fraction wide there into turn 10. There's no way through though for Martin.
No way through yet for Jorge Martin. We've still got ahead of Franco Morbidelli up into 13th position, which just shows once again the vast difference between the factory Yamahas at the moment in this Grand Prix. But this is the closest Martin has been.
He was slightly slower on that previous lap than this quartet directly behind him, but as we said, it's all immaterial because he's got to this phase of the Grand Prix now, Quartararo, where he can just stage manage it, he can ease off, he can just nerd. Is Aleix Espargaro just having big troubles with that front tyre? Just was wide again, wasn't he, in the braking zone for turn 10, or was it just the fact that he got a bit of slipstream out of turn 9 and got sucked in by the slipstream effect from Jorge Martin's? About a rise full of grit and determination. Talk about gritting your teeth and riding through the pain barrier. What a job Alex Marquez is doing. Not quite, I think many people expect him maybe not even to participate in his home Grand Prix here today after that really high speed front end washout in turn 14 at the end of FP4. If he can rescue a top 10, absolutely fantastic. Try and get what's been a top 10s have been few and far between of late for the man who's been struggling on that factory Honda, fighting of course for his MotoGP future. There's been all kinds of rumours that Lucio Cecchinello may be willing to cut both Alex Marquez and Taka Nakagami loose at the end of 2022, but rides like this will keep Alex Marquez at the forefront of Cecchinello's mind.
Well, if anyone's got any rear tyre grip left, we're going to see it now.
Move, and great for his world championship as well, because he's just rescued another 4 points there, so trying to limit the damage here after Fabio Quartararo's brilliance. It will be Advantage Quartararo going to round 10 in Germany in a couple of weeks' time, 13 clear of Aleix Espargaro, then a big gap sent back to an Airbus Giannini in third, 53 points for the Ducati man who crashed out at turn 5 early on in the race. We can't even see Pecco Bagnaia on that graphic because of course his involvement in that nasty incident at the first corner means Bagnaia is going to lose one place if Johann Zarco stays upright and stays on board that Pramac Ducati.
Drop as Aleix Espargaro now pulls out of the slipstream. He is on the inside this time. Can he get that Aprilia stopped into turn 1? He can. He makes the apex comfortably, so the home crowd and the Aprilia team will like that as their man moves back up into second.
18, he briefly let it turn 5 on lap 20. When will the crucial move come? Will it ever come as Jorge Martin again runs super tight defensive line through turn 2?
With music to Martin's ears as he knows that if he breaks as late as he knows he can, it doesn't appear as if Aleix Espargaro can break late toward the corner. Here's another look at it. Second time we've seen this from Aleix Espargaro. Again, he kind of got the move done as they hit the brakes, but he just breaks a little bit too late. Moves wide, and he's now given Jorge Martin 0.4 of a second of breathing space. I say it again, this will just give Alex Rins a little bit more encouragement to try and close in on this leading 2.
Yeah, just got a box clever here, hasn't he, Aleix Espargaro? He's done so much of the hard work just to get Aprilia into this position over the last 6 seasons or so. He's Jorge Martin and it is that leads the way. Aleix Espargaro briefly let it turn 5 on lap 18. He briefly let it turn 5 on lap 20. When will the crucial move come? Will it ever come as Jorge Martin again?
So the teammates for 9th position, what an incredible performance. The rookie is having 9th position, he's just behind the world champion, already putting some bike lanes between himself and Jorge Martin. You kind of got the feeling with Martin, if he was going to be able to get back past that Aprilia, he had to do it immediately, and already you can see the gap has opened up as they'll come through the third sector point as they come out of turn 9 here and flick it round turn 10. That 0.3 of a second to the advantage for Aleix Espargaro. Aleix can now get into his rhythm, and Martin will now already be starting to think, I might be under pressure soon from the Suzuki behind me. Can Martin somehow regroup in the latest edge of this race? Aleix Espargaro, though, for the first time since he sat on the grid, has clear tarmac ahead of him. The high 39s, pretty much nothing to choose between the leading group on lap times. Brad Binder in 7th place, just behind Pecco Bagnaia and ahead of Fabio Quartararo. Marco Bezzecchi holds 9th, and Enea Bastianini, the championship leader at the start of the race. It looks like he's going to lose that championship lead because he can't move forward from 10th.
Oh, Zach Martin just in a little bit wider to turn 2. Amazing pace from the top 6 man. They all just want the fastest man on track at 1:39.7. Anxious faces down there. This will mask some of the disappointment for Paul Espargaro if his brother Aleix Espargaro can take a first MotoGP win. There's a late tumble here. Again, here comes Aleix Espargaro. Now he's just trying to do the block pass, isn't he here? The block pass on the inside. Now then, he's got it done this time around. He tried on lap 18. Not a successful mission. He tried on lap 20, didn't work. Lap 21 though, he has finally got into the front. Romano Albiciano, he's enjoying it. I'm sure he's super nervous down that Aprilia garage. Now then, can Aleix Espargaro make the key break here? Espargaro starts the biggest last lap of his life, the most important lap of his life. in his 200th Grand Prix start in MotoGP. He's 6/10 clear of Jorge Martin with history beckoning.
Fortunes for the Aprilias in the latter stage of the race. Something happened between the two of them. They were both down in the 1-minute 40s. They've also got Brad Binder right behind them, so there could be some changes yet in the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th. But Aleix Espargaro, if he keeps it wheel perfect on this last lap, he has 0.6 of a second in his pocket at the start of the lap. A tenth of that has gone the way of Jorge Martin, but as long as he doesn't make a mistake at this stage, Aleix Espargaro should have this all under control. Turn 5 out of the way, that's one of the places where Martin could have attacked if he was close enough, but no way through. Turn 7 will be one of the few places now that Martin could make through, but he's still 6/10 adrift, and then if Aleix Espargaro can keep Martin
He himself has worked so hard behind the scenes, the technical guru behind this RSGP machine, with his band of engineers in that small camp in Novale in Italy. Are they now? Here he comes then, 2 corners remaining. Aleix Espargaro and Aprilia celebrate their first ever win in MotoGP. It's pure glory for Aprilia and Aleix Espargaro on his 200th MotoGP start. Aprilia and Aleix Espargaro finally are MotoGP winners. Jorge Martin takes second. Alex Rins a brilliant.
Ferme with the live coverage where the 3 podium finishers have just arrived. The winner is over the moon and quite rightly indulging in a few celebrations with his team.